People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now the championship season is over. Emile Smith-Rowe's loan spell at Huddersfield is over. So it's a time to reflect on the lad. Now, it's been a decent year for loan players in the championship. You look at Swansea, Liam Gallagher's done well. Brewster scored a banger again yesterday and he must be giving Klopp something to think about. And the challenge for Brewster is, can he go and force himself in the plans? You know, can he go and take Origi's spot or find a spot on the bench? You know, we've allowed more subs. Brewster might be given that opportunity. Or if not, do you want to go? Can you go and replicate this in the Prem or in the Championship again? You know, you've got former, they're not young, but former Arsenal players. You know, Luke Ayling's going to be playing for Leeds in the Premiership. Semir J with West Brom getting promoted potentially as well. It's been a decent year. Josh De Silva of Brentford. You know, if they want want to make the playoffs, it's down to them to fix up against. I think they're playing Swansea before that game. I could be wrong. They actually lost yesterday. Josh scored a banger. But obviously Emile's our property, you know, that's all just me loving former academy prospects. Emile is Arsenal's property. You know, he's a good young player. Once described him and Nelson as the best talent since Jack Wilshere. Ironically, that is Saka, you know. And the sad thing is Saka probably, I don't like it, but Saka probably puts pressure on Emile and Nelson because, you know, Saka did have a buzz, but I think Emile and Nelson had way more of a buzz. And people are probably thinking, yo, Saka's come true, Martinelli's come from Brazil and come true. Well, go on for Reece Nelson and Emile. And I always say, players develop at different rates. I think both of these players suffer from confidence issues. I think Saka, in a positive way, is assured of himself at this level. I think these players doubt themselves a bit. You look at Emile, I think Emile's performance against Everton in that draw summed it up why he'd go out on loan, because I think mentally he still needs to believe he's at this. I think they're still struggling with dealing with that sort of demands. I think they're two players that are going to have a future at Arsenal. And in relation to Emile, I think he's had a positive loan spell at Huddersfield. You know, they've survived the relegation race. He's seen, ironically, like at Arsenal, he's seen managerial changes. I think Dan Crowley and his brother were very good for Emile. They gave him confidence. They made him feel important in the team, and Emile replicated that with performances. Also, I think they managed Emile right as well, because, you know, one thing Emile's going to have to learn is, you know, he's going to need to develop physically. That doesn't mean getting bigger. That means, you know, games are coming thick and fast 3 times a week, your fitness levels. And I think he's still adjusting to that. And I think they managed him in their time as Huddersfield boss. They managed him very well. And I think Emile got to show what he's about. You know, you speak to Huddersfield fans, you speak to the players, you could see his talent. You know, the key is, can he replicate it in the Prem? I think I think I'd give his loan spell 7 out of 10. I think what I was looking for, go and become important to the team. Go and become a decider for the team. Go and become a creative hub for the team. Go and get more experience. And these are all the things I've seen. You know, if I was to be real picky, I think goals and assists, it can improve, because what, he made 18 appearances. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists. You know, it's decent, but it's not decent. It's all right, but it's not the best. I do think there's been opportunities he could have done more. I do think at times he can play with his head up a bit better. I do think he needs to be a bit more calculated. You know, at times he goes into dead ends and stuff, but he's still young and developing. I like him, man. He's played well in the 10. He's played well on the flanks. He's shown his ability. Just the other day, he come off the bench against West Brom for 20-odd minutes and scored. You know, he didn't play no part in the 4-1 defeat to Millwall. He's had some good games. Like, off the top of my head, I'm sure he played well against Bristol. I'm sure he played well against QPR. I'm sure he bossed it against Charlton. There's been Reading as well. I could be wrong about Reading, but there's been some very standout games from him, and he has played with consistency. I think at his worst, you're just hoping for him when he's on the ball and receives it. Can he unpick defences? Can he get them goals and assists? Because he plays the passes, but you just need to see it go up a level. I think he's done enough to be given a chance to fight under Arteta. I think, you know, he deserves to get what Saka and Martinelli and these guys had, in that you start the season in and around the team like Eddie does and these man. And if you want to get a more important spot in the team, it's down to you. But at the same time, I wouldn't be against the loan spell. I think, you know, I look in the 10 position at Arsenal. If we're going to play with a pivot, then there isn't exactly a role for a 10. But if we're going to play with a 3-man midfield, in fact, Emile could be a central midfield in the future. He might struggle for game time. He can get game time on the flanks. I think he deserves the opportunity to fight. I mean, you know, Joe gets time in the 10. I can't understand why Joe gets that ahead of certain other players. And I think Emile should be relishing trying to fight Joe for that. I think for Emile, you know, he's got to probably work on where he picks up the ball as a midfielder. You've got to learn to probably not always go deep searching for the ball, and he's got to learn how to better unpick defences, and he's also got to learn to switch up his play, because he can kind of only play a certain sort of way. And I'm not saying he's one-dimensional, because he can do the technical sort of play, he can run at man. He's a decent individual. I wouldn't be against him going out on, as much as I think he should be given an opportunity to fight and kind of join what the other young players are doing. I'm not against another loan spell. You know, I'd like to see him if he can go to Germany again, be in the top league. Ironically, if Norwich and Villa and Bournemouth, these were all three clubs great for him in the Prem. I think Norwich, the way they play football, tried to play, would have been good for him. I think playing under Eddie Howe would have been good for him. And I think Aston Villa, you know, that would suit him. You know, two of these three teams are going to be gone, if not all of them. And things like that. So I think Emile can go out on loan again. I do think at times he's gone through hot and cold periods and stuff. He still needs to play to greater consistency. He still needs to get more goals and assists. But that's the only thing lacking from his game, man. I'm seeing a way more confident Emile. I'm seeing someone that's able to handle the pressure. I'm seeing someone that wants to try and decide games. You know, I'm seeing someone that puts himself around. I think he's also improved defensively as well, as you would be being in a relegation dogfight, being in the Championship. You need to be able to defend. You know, Emile's sort of been very reactive to sort of the whole, you know, you need to fight for your shirt sort of thing or you're going to lose it. I think it's been a positive loan spell for him. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, you know, because I think he's done well. There are a lot of improvements to make, and he's not going to be the finished article tomorrow. None of these young players are. They're all developing at different rates, and you know, it's nice for him, man, to get his confidence back, and hopefully he comes more assured of himself in his quest to break through into Arsenal. And you know, he said he wants to come back for pre-season, so yeah, man, Arteta has to run the rule over a lot of them. So we'll see what happens in relation to Emile, but for now, I've got nothing more to add, so I'm going to get out of here. It's always a pleasure. DG, I'm out.